Let's talk about this whole shifting realities, shifting our identity, quantum shifting, quantum jumping, quantum leaping, however you want to word it, idea, methodology. Um, I have dove so deep into this whole concept from many different books and teachers and trainings, and living is really where I've learned the most. And I want to share today something that was so pivotal for me in not just my own life, but in my coaching and in now actually using this daily as I work with clients. Because the thing you need to understand is that every day, all day, in every moment, you are shifting realities. You are creating your identity. It's just that we're either doing it unconsciously, consciously, or super consciously. And that is what is the most pivotal part to this whole manifestation game, to living the life that you want, or to continuing to live in the reality that you are. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. In this moment, okay, so we're a minute and 22 seconds into this video. And when you press play, you were different. You chose to press play on this video, which shifted your reality. If you had not pressed play and you chose a different video, podcast, wherever you're listening to this, to play, that would have shifted your reality that way. It also would have shifted your identity because you're learning, you're growing, you're evolving. Now, for the most part, what most people do when we're trapped in this loop of living in autopilot is we just let our unconscious mind do the things that we normally do, and we kind of see things through the lens we're still seeing things through. And that just turns into, for a lot of people, the same seeming reality of the same issues and problems and struggles and things that you have. And so when I talk about shifting our identity, shifting our reality, I'm talking about doing it from a quantum level, from our super conscious mind, doing it from the highest mind, from the highest perspective, from the all knowing of the limitless possibilities that are here. So that's why doing things like meditations and knowing your human design, or whatever it is that helps you feel a deeper connection to your true self over your current or past self, because all versions, all parts of you are here now, are always here now, have always been here now. But as you can see right now, are you the same as you were when you were 13? Now, if you're 13, when you were 3, right? But if you aren't the same, things have changed, you've shifted, you've evolved. However that's happened, it's happened. Are you the same as you were a week ago? Is your life the same as it was a week ago? Most likely not. Most likely there have been things that have shifted and changed. And those things have then shifted and changed your paradigm, your perspective. Now, based in how much work we're doing in our consciousness to make new choices, to do new things, to expand our consciousness, to expand our experience here, is going to dictate the reality that we're living. But again, you are always shifting, you are always changing. And what I see causes the most pain for people is trying to not change. The one thing that is promised, that is true, from the time we are born till the time we leave these bodies and beyond, is we are always changing. We are always evolving. But where we create the most pain is in the resistance of that, is in the, wanting things to be different, but then continuing to choose the same ways of being. But again, you are still shifting your reality, your identity. But the more you keep yourself playing in the characters and the roles and the ways of being of the past that aren't serving you, that aren't who you want to show up and be anymore, the more you're going to stay trapped or feel the frustration because you're doing the work. Most likely, if you're here, you're doing the work, right? You're meditating, you're working on manifesting, you're getting really clear on what you want. But if you're still showing up day to day, allowing your unconscious mind to do the things that you normally do, to spend your days trying to fix and problem solve your way to getting what you want, you're going to keep creating more problems and more things to fix. But when we start to expand our consciousness, when we start to get in tune with ourselves and attuned to who we are now, with everything that we have changed and evolved and shifted through, and we start to see, okay, I have these beliefs and these ways of being and these definitions to life that I am choosing. It's 1:11, guys. If you're following along, I can't make this up. And I don't purposely record around this time. Anyways, side note. Where was I? Okay, so if you are choosing to do the things that you always do, you're going to keep getting very similar results, right? You're going to keep getting this same reality. And maybe there's a lot of things in your life that you really like that are feel really aligned with you, but those are generally not the things that we are even thinking about or questioning in the day. Those are the things that are easy and effortless for us. It's the places and the spaces where we are burnt out, where we're exhausted, where we're not feeling seen or heard or validated, that so many of us are feeling this pain right now, because the divine is trying to wake you up to the fact that it gets to be easier, that you can now quantumly jump into a new reality, that you can shift your identity and be who you want to be. But no one can do it for you. You have to choose to show up and do what you want to do, to show up and be how you want to be. And so when you do anything, any work in the conscious field or in the super conscious field or in the quantum field, same, you are opening up this opportunity to shift your reality and your identity to a higher frequency, right? Because the frequency you're at is the frequency you're at. You can be here, you can go lower, you can go higher. Wherever you're at right now, if it doesn't feel good, if you aren't happy, if you aren't healthy, if you aren't enjoying it, then it's up to you to choose a different reality, a different identity. And now I get it. I get we have, issues and things and circumstances in our life that our ego will convince us are in the way of us getting what we want, living lives we love. But that right there is exactly what's stopping you. And you will never know if that's true or not until you choose to follow through on what feels good to you. And it's small, little steps. It's small, divinely aligned steps. It's you feel called to drive a different way to work. You feel called to go to a different coffee shop. You feel called to call a friend. And those things, when you trust yourself in the moment, build on each other. And those things are what are leading you to where you're meant to be, to receive what you need, to move through whatever you are currently going through. Your circumstances don't matter. Your behavior does. So whatever your current life circumstance is, it is what it is. but you can choose how you see it, how you perceive it, and how you behave in it. You can choose to be stuck in being a victim. You can choose to be stuck in worrying about the future. But it's all imaginary from this moment on. It's all imaginary. It is all our imagination. Anything that is not here right now, and even that is our imagination of how we're perceiving it. And that's how we manifest things into reality. 80%, I read this study somewhere, I can't remember where, but 80% of what we worry about never happens. Never happens. So think about that. Like if 80% of the things that you're worried about today are never going to happen, how much more time do you want to waste worried about them happening? Why not be excited for how good things could be, how good things are going to be is a better way to choose it, but you have to meet yourself where you're at. So if just imagining and envisioning how good it could be is so much more powerful than how bad it could be. Do you see how easily that will shift your reality? Because your emotions are dictating your frequency. So if you're sitting here in this moment and you're worried and stressed and anxious about something that may or may not happen in a week, in a year, in a month, in an hour, you're just stealing the joy from right now, right? And when you choose, yes, maybe there's things that are scheduled into your future that aren't your ideal, or maybe there's things that they're unknown and you have anxiety about how it's going to happen. You need to see that all of your fears and your anxieties and your nervousness or worry about anything in the future is all just coming off of your past, off of the way that things have or haven't worked out, off of the way that things turned out for you in previous circumstances. But right now, everything is how it is. Everything was how it was, and you only from the past bring here now what you choose to. And the future is unknown until you get there, and you're always here. So, the whole idea behind this reality shifting, identity shifting, creating our ideal identity is to empower us. It is to empower us to be the sovereign beings that we are and choose to consciously create lives and realities and identities that we love. It is so much more powerful and such a better use of our time to show up every day and love our lives, be obsessed with how good our life can be, with how much enjoyment we can get out of today. The amount that we sacrifice now preparing for it to be better for ourselves in the future. I can tell you right now that your future self wants you. She doesn't really exist. There's a higher self, there's a higher self that is higher because they're at a higher frequency. They have a higher perspective, right? But there is no future you. There's you here now always. There's ideas of future versions of you, and we can use the concept of the future to help us create and envision the ideal self we want to be, and then do our best to show up as that version. Because otherwise, you're showing up as the oldest version of your past self. Or you can show up as the newest version of your future self, right? And so right now, if you want to show up as that newer version that is connected to your higher mind, that is following what inspires and ignites you, that is how you start to see your reality change, your identity change. And until you're doing it and choosing to be the version of you that really truly excites you, you're not getting it wrong. You're only making it harder for yourself. When we are so focused on problem solving, on healing, on fixing, we are constantly recreating that energy. Because if there's a problem that we're focusing on fixing, we're creating that there is a problem to fix. Now, I'm not saying to just bypass your feelings and emotions and ignore what isn't working for you. I'm just telling you that in the now moment, your energy, your frequency, your time, your attention, your money, your everything is way more powerful going towards creating and doing what you want to do. Choosing what feels like love for you, choosing a reality that excites you, and then all of the things that are not aligned are going to shift and change. And yes, there are going to be challenges, but the fun comes when those challenges happen. It is literally just an opportunity to be your new identity. And I have been doing this a lot recently as I am pushing through into a new level of me and being the identity that I want to be, instead of just sitting there trying to fix all of the reasons why I'm afraid to show up as me and thinking about all the ways I want to be. I had to fully step into this identity and be it. And yes, the things, the fears and the beliefs that I have that were stopping me, that I recoded, then show up for us to show our unconscious and our self-conscious they are no longer who we are. And that is when the shift, the jump, the leap really truly happens, because you then become that new identity. But we, just like if you're learning to ride a bike, if you're learning to play tennis, the piano, soccer, cook, anything, we have to start where we are and with a beginner mind and be curious and open to learning and seeing what feels right. Or we can keep doing the things we know how to do. We can keep allowing our unconscious mind to run on autopilot as it has previously been programmed, or we can start to create a whole new set of instructions. And that's what I do with people, is I help you really get clear on who you're here to be, on who you want to be, on the highest, most ideal vision you can have of a version of you that is thriving, that is healthy, that is vital, that is prosperous, that is enjoying life to the fullest. We connect to your emotions around that person, to how they're living, how they're being, so that then you can choose in the moments of your real life to integrate that, to live as that, and using things like human design and gene keys to have these cheat codes, but you still get to perceive them how best serves you and use them in your real life, because you're the only one that can. There are how many methods? I have no idea how many methods and modalities there are, how many different books and teachings and courses on manifestation. And some of them contradict each other. A lot of them are same in different words. But I can say some of them resonate with me and some of them don't. It doesn't mean the ones that don't resonate with me are wrong. There's just things and ways people explain things that are going to relate and resonate different with each of us. And that's purposeful because that's here to guide you to figuring out how you're designed and how you want to be. And so the more that you trust in what in the moment is really exciting you, that's when you start to create again and shift your reality consciously. And when we do it consciously in the moment from a place of what feels good for us, that builds on the next moment builds on that. And then you just begin this snowball effect. The more that you choose yourself, the more that you show up for yourself, the more that you start to love yourself and become obsessed with your life, and things start to flow. And yes, we're going to pivot and things will, call us off the path, but we've gained more knowledge, more embodiment, more empowerment within ourselves. So we shift back. And every time you shift back, even if you respond out of alignment with your true self, it's always just an opportunity to expand and grow, which is what we're here for. But the more and more you become the ideal version of you that is showing up in the now and choosing to do what feels like love, bliss, happiness, excitement for you, that's what creates your reality. And then everything just starts to work out for you effortlessly and easily as it's designed to. But you have to be willing to do the inner work. There's no bypassing that. You need to choose to show up for yourself, and in any moment be honest with yourself, be intimate with yourself as to what is the right choice for you now, not what you chose before. Unless you want to stay there. If you want to stay in the spaces and the places of your behaviors in life, of your choices, of your state of being, then you have free will. But if you want to rise higher, if you want to expand into the 5D, if you want to live limitlessly, we need to let go of the things that are limiting us, the beliefs and the bullshit that is no longer serving you. It served you at a time. It's not to have judgment or shame or blame, but it's happened. It's done. And I'm not downplaying that we've all had shitty things happen. But at the same time, you're here now. And you can choose to continue to create your reality based in that reality and those belief systems and those ways of being in those conditioned states, or you can shift your state of being, because that's what truly creates your circumstances. Your circumstances don't create your state of being. Your state of being creates your circumstances. So if in the moment your state of being is being here for yourself, loving yourself, choosing yourself, creating a life you love, going after your dreams, following through on what you want to do, that is then going to create your circumstances. It is all a mirror. Reality is a mirror. It is. I mean, you can look at life for this. We all know people that in their words, in their opinions, in the way that they see life, they're just lucky. Maybe that's the way that you see them. Maybe it was that kid in school that was like good at every sport that they played, or the adult that you know that just randomly wins contests all the time, or just always has things work out. Do you also see that those people have that belief system? They just have a belief that they are good at all the sports. They don't have to try. They just expect they're going to win the contest. They know things are always working out in their favor and they expect it to. And that's the reality they're choosing, and that's the reality that they're experiencing. But we also know the flip side of that, of people that see nothing but negativity and I knew this was going to happen to me. I knew again that the weather would be shitty when I decided to go on vacation. I knew this. I knew that. So the reality is showing them that, right? But when you start to shift your reality, your consciousness to the fact that it is all working out for you, that it is always this or better, that anything that isn't working out right now how you want it to is only because your higher self has a better plan, that you get to enjoy more, that it gets to be more easy and effortless. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so complicated. I was literally having a conversation with someone last night about my business and my career, and they're very much a successful entrepreneur, and they're trying to convince me that I am wrong in the fact that if we want to have a business that's successful, it has to be hard. There has to be hard work. It has to be challenging. We don't get to just enjoy every part of it. And I've had many businesses. I've been a serial entrepreneur for 20 years. All the reasons that in the past my businesses have failed financially, because I will never say they failed because of all the magic and opportunities and connections and creations that came from them, but on paper maybe failed, is because I wasn't choosing to do it for me. I was following my passion, but I chose that reality that it had to be hard, that I couldn't just enjoy it, that I had to struggle and suffer and put in more effort and work more, expand more, make it harder. Every time things were good, add more products, add more teachers, whatever it is, depending on the business, right? Like anytime things started to get good and could be easy, then I made it bigger. I made it more. Every retreat added more things if there was more time. Like it was just constantly me sacrificing myself to give and do as much as possible, because that was the belief that had been created in me as to how I was going to be the most worthy of success. But me or you burnt out doesn't do any good for anyone. You suffering doesn't help anyone else. But you thriving and you choosing yourself, you choosing to live aligned and to live divinely aligned, which is choosing to follow that super conscious. So let's talk about super conscious reality creating, reality shifting now, because yes, there's the conscious creating. So you're here, you're working with what you've got to create the identity, the reality that you want, right? So you've shifted beyond the state of just letting your unconscious or your unconscious programming, your subconscious mind run the show, and you're now shifted into, you've done more work, you're doing more meditations, visualizations, you're more conscious, your consciousness is expanding, you're starting to believe more in yourself, you're starting to see more of what you want, right? But you then have to be it. So then in the moment you're being it, you're starting to choose it, and you're starting to see things shift. Then we take it to the next level by connecting to our super conscious mind. And we do that through going into lower brainwave states, right? So going into delta and gamma, and really connecting to the divine, to our superconscious mind, to the quantum field, and seeing and feeling and hearing and sensing, however it speaks to you, the limitless possibilities that are out there. And the more that we start to do that, we can do that now. We can do that in real time. It doesn't have to just be in those brainwave states, but there takes time where you're reconditioning and recoding your mind. So for me, I had to, consciously choose to do the meditations and do the work that works very fast to recode my unconscious by connecting to my superconscious. And then from there, you have to start to show up as that version of you. You have to be it. We've moved beyond the believing. We're now being it. And when any challenge, any circumstance, any high or low comes, we're connecting to and we're being that version of us. And the more that you do that, the more you just super consciously create a reality, a life that you love. And your dreams are coming true right in front of you. Only they're so much better because your super conscious mind conceives. It sees it all. It knows all. It knows all. It knows all of your magic, all of your gifts, all of the lives you've lived, all of the possibilities. And then due to your behaviors and your circumstances and your reality, it is giving you what you need in the moment. But the more you expand your consciousness, the easier and easier it gets to collapse time. And that's when you can quickly shift your paradigm and you can quickly shift into a new timeline. But again, all you're doing is choosing to feel different and to feel more aligned with the divine than with your limitations. It's just you choosing in the moment, whatever path you want to take. You have free will. You are a sovereign being. But it does take consistency. It does. But it gets easier and easier, just like learning to ride a bike or any skill you've ever learned. Anytime you've got a new job and in the beginning it's overwhelming. But now maybe you've been at it for 30 years and you don't even think about it. Like you don't even know the last time you thought about, did you even know the last time you thought about how to shower? Right? Like these things that we were taught as kids how to do this properly. It is wild how hard it can be to teach children to wash their hair properly, right? Like we had to learn these things, but the more that you do it, the more it then codes into your unconscious, and then your subconscious autopilot is now running off of your new instructions that are coming from your superconscious mind, the space and the place of limitless possibilities, which is so much more fun than your limited self. You have lived that reality long enough, I'm going to guess. And the things that you love in your life, the people, the opportunities, the circumstances, they are going to stay. It's just going to get better. It only gets better. This is great now. You're here. You've made it through, but it gets to be better from here on, always. And when you shift your mindset to this, it is so powerful. It is so powerful. Instead of being afraid of the future, we're excited for it because we know it is always better. It's always better. This is great and it is always better. We're not here stuck in problem-solving land. We're here in creation, in co-creation with the divine, creating a life that we love. One step at a time. Like what excites you now? Do that. And one little step at a time will lead to the bigger, more pivotal things. But where I find a lot of people get in their way is that we can do the work and then get really good at the big things, like knowing the big hell yeses or fuck no's, like the big things, decisions. Those can be a lot clearer than those little day-to-day things, because those little day-to-day things are just so programmed into us. But shifting those is life-changing. Like brushing your teeth with the opposite hand taps you into your consciousness because you have to think about it. Sleeping on a different side of the bed, driving a different way to work, whatever it is, these things make you more present. And when you're more present, you are going to be shifting and creating your reality more from the now than the past programming. And then you'll be open more to opportunities. You will see more because you aren't just in this like blinders on, going through life, just trying to get to the end of the day. Someone said to me the other day how much busier their work has been, which is great because it makes the day go by faster. And this isn't the first time I've heard this, but it just made me be like I didn't say anything in the moment because it just wasn't the place. But like, really, how sad is that? That so many of us feel that. I've never felt that. I don't know what bored feels like. I'm way too overly creative and conscious, but the amount of people that can't wait for the weekend or that vacation or that time in the future when things will be better, when this will all be worth it. Sacrificing now is not the answer. It is just not. This is all you have. Choosing you now is how you create a life that you love. And I get it. I get that it is complicated to be conscious, to be aware of the ways that we aren't showing up and choosing ourselves. And you can keep doing it. Again, you have free will. But I promise you, when you start showing up for yourself, you are rewarded, you are supported, you are protected, and everything will work out in your favor. It's just that your unconscious programming is going to have to let go. It's going to have to let go of the ways it knows to survive. It has to surrender and trust. But your superconscious mind works very effortlessly and easily with your unconscious mind when you allow it. When your consciousness allows the connection to happen, and then it just takes allowing the connection to happen, seeing, envisioning, knowing, being the person you want to be. And then in the moments when you have the opportunity to choose, do you go based in your higher self or your lower self? And again, higher frequency, lower frequency. Every version of you is perfect. Every version of you is divine. It's just there's always a higher timeline. There's always a higher choice where you are choosing you, where you are loving yourself. So I hope that helped. I know that this trend of, reality shifting, identity creating, I'm not here to talk about these things because it's trending. It's literally my life's work, and it's what I've been living and teaching and coaching. And I just see so many people. I get it. You aren't going to get it until you do it. And until you do it, it's going to seem really hard, just like anything does. But being you is meant to be easy. And you get to have everything that you want. If you can see it, if you can envision it, if there are things that you know you want to create in this world, things you want to experience, things you want to express, you are meant to. And it gets to be fun. It gets to be enjoyable. You don't have to suffer and sacrifice. And settling is not the answer. It's just not. Feeling in the moment is how your superconscious, the divine matrix, however you want to see it, but really we'll just go with superconscious mind, right? It's how your superconscious mind speaks to you is through feeling and frequency. And we all know what it feels like to feel excited, what it feels like to feel expanded, to feel grateful. In any moment, these feelings are available to you. And the more that you just in the moment, what feels the most exciting? What feels the easiest? Because the things that are easy for you, you're meant to do. Yes, learning new things can be challenging, but when it's exciting you and you know it's aligned and you're obsessed with learning about something or doing it even though it's hard, that's for you. But when you're doing things that are challenging and they're exhausting you and you hate doing them and you can't wait for your day to be over or you're dreading doing it on the weekend or whatever it is, these are all things that are not for you. And yes, we live in a human world where we're going to have to do chores and things that aren't our favorite. But when you're living a life that you love, when you've crafted and cultivated and created this life and this way of being that you just love being in life, dishes are fun. Dinner is fun. Grocery shopping is enjoyable. And anything that you don't love doing that steals your joy and energy, pay someone else to do. And yeah, you can sit there and tell me that costs money or whatever it is. Well, the more that you do, the more energy and time you have to do what you want to do, money will not matter. But as long as we keep making money or whatever it is that you are making the excuse for why you don't choose yourself, it will continue to be. You can't be in the frequency and energy of lack and not having what you need to live a life that you love and just have the life appear. And I say that in the most like loving and realistic way because I've been where you are if this is a struggle you have. And so I'm here right now just telling you one divinely aligned step at a time is all it takes. What feels right for you now? Clicking play on this video. Going for lunch with a friend, not going for lunch with a friend. All of these things are the divine speaking to you, your superconscious mind speaking to you, that are aligning you with something better. That's it. And it just builds from there. So I'm just trying to hear if there's anything else that needs to come through. Hopefully this has helped shift you and open you up to the power that you hold to truly create a reality, a life that you love, because that is what you're worthy of. You are worthy of it all, of everything that you want to have happen. So keep focusing on those dreams, those desires, but imagine the life where you have those things, right? So like right now, whatever it is that you would just love to create, something you would love to create, to have, to experience in your life. Like, who are you when you have that? Because that version of you is who you need to start showing up as now. What are they doing? How are they being? What do they believe? What do they see? What do they need? Right? Do they need another cup of coffee or do they need to go for a walk in nature? There's always, the answers are always clear by what feels truly good for you. Okay, I'm going to end it there. There's a lot more to come. So thanks for being here. Love you lots. See you in the next video.